Well, howdy do, buckaroos. It just says this hangout is on air. We are live, man. I am Tony Beer Whisperer, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all-around good guy. That's my new tagline. How y'all like it? I've been spreading that one around lately. It's on my website. So,
That's
hey,
right, wildfire.
folks with us. I usually do these videos with just one other person, but hey, I got three guests joining me at the Beer Whisperer Pub, and I've got John from Zone 1 that you've seen a few videos with, and Todd out in Indiana. But I've got a brand new one here. Rod J. Beer Ventures is with me today. So say hi, Rod J., and tell us what you're drinking.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? What's happening, everybody? So, yeah, my channel, Rod J. Beer Ventures, and I'm actually picking one out from John Sherritt's neck of the woods here. So something you like that one, right? So I am drinking a Goodwood lager aged in a rum cask Oktoberfest.
Oh, man.
That's actually pretty good. It's probably one of their better ones.
Yeah, I didn't know if you saw this one down there or not, but happened to just come across.
There's not too many to write home about from them, but that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
What's the ABV on that one, Rod J.?
This one is actually, it's either 7 or 7.1 I saw.
Okay.
See here. This is like one of those things. You know, we talk about the pet peeves on some of the bottles, not putting a date on there. They actually do put the date on here when it was bottled, but it doesn't have like the ABV, like the stuff you want to know about the beer. So I looked on Untapped, and I think it was 7.1 or 7.0.
Okay.
I mean, we're about 10 minutes from the brewery, right, Todd? 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how traffic is. So.
Well, John, what are you drinking, bud?
Yeah, at most.
Oh, Todd's down around there too then. Okay.
Yeah. Both of those guys are my Indiana connection.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, John, what are you drinking, bud?
So,
About 3 miles from John, Rod.
Yeah. So, yeah, me and Todd used to be almost next door neighbors. Then he moved across town. So
there we go. So what are you drinking tonight, John?
I am drinking a New Glarus Moon Man.
So good.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God.
Actually, I've got in about 2 weeks, I'll get a fresh new batch from Wisconsin because the people live next door to me. That's where they are from, and they're heading back up there in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
I noticed last night that they would pick me up half a trunk full of New Glarus. So
Todd, what are you drinking there, bud?
I am drinking one that's from, actually, I guess it's kind of fitting. It's from our neck of the woods and from Rod J's. It's a Sun King and Ron Geis collaboration.
Oh, so you're in my backyard now, yeah.
Yeah, actually, Todd's
go.
been kind of my connection for Cincinnati brews. He sent me a few.
Yeah, Ryan Geis does a bang-up job. And Sun King, I've had their collaboration last year was good.
Yeah.
So I've got kind of a classic in my neck of the woods. I've got it's 5.8, 30 IBUs. It's the Boulevard Irish Ale.
Oh.
And I've never noticed this on the label before, but they're putting red ale. And I've looked at old bottles that I had, and they've never mentioned red ale before, but now they're calling it an Irish red. But in the past, they just called it an Irish ale. So I thought for a topic for this particular pub show, a pub session, I should say, that we kind of keep it light. But what I was curious about is I've had this conversation with both John and Todd before. So RJ, I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
You hear so many negatives about social media, but how many people have we met just through social media? How many people, on a positive note, how many beers have we found out just through social media that we've been able to at least learn about, and in some cases try, that if social media didn't exist, we wouldn't have them?
Yeah, I mean, social media has enacted a lot of things that you wouldn't have got or received without it. And my background is actually a degree in journalism and advertising. So marketing is something, I went to school for. And seeing the power that you have of social media is just so incredible now. But you wouldn't have been able to find out about a lot of the different beers as easily as you can with social media, or connect with some of the different people that are enthusiastic about beers and helping to find an inventory for stuff. But I mean, it's almost like you can't even count how many options have become available with social media being added into the mix, and just all the different things you learn about and the information you gain from others, and it's right at your fingertips. So it's so easily, and you know, this is all part of being part of the information age, right? So you're getting all these things that details and anything you want information on is out there now, which makes it really nice.
Me and Tom and also Todd, you know, talked over the years because me and, you know, we've all been friends for what, 6 or 7 years now, and we've done a lot of these hangouts together and other adventures together. But I mean, we wouldn't have met you or Tom or anybody else if it hadn't been for our social media contacts that we have.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
And you guys know as well as I do. I mean, you see a lot of these contacts. I mean, you get, and they come and go quickly, but you know, the ones that have sustained over the years are people like us and other people, because you see so many people come and go on social media. It's not funny. So remained contacts and good friends, and we're going to do a lot of stuff together in the future. And you know, I mean, it's been a fun adventure. We could all sit here on a laptop on a Sunday afternoon and hang out and enjoy beers together.
Right. And it's like us talking, you know, we got to meet each other, and then we're looking to get together in Cincinnati in a few weeks. So it's that kind of camaraderie you've gotten from it, but not even just from us as beer enthusiasts. I mean, there's so many beer company people I've come into contact with now that were owners of breweries or beer distributors or beer salespeople, just because of different social media stuff that, you know, I put out there, we all put out there on different things, and they get back in touch with us to find out details or provide feedback on things. So it's been kind of awesome along those lines as well. So we pretty much just, if you want to get involved in the industry, social media has made it that much more easier to make those connections, which is nice.
Yeah, I agree with Ron. I've been contacted by a lot of folks and been invited to breweries that I would have never heard about if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah. I think it's like everything else. There's goods and bads to it, and I think the good outweighs the bad. It's just how people tend to abuse it sometimes in the wrong ways.
Well, it just seems all you hear about is the negative, so I like to kind of dwell on the positive. There is some positives out there.
Yeah.
Well, I think the positives probably outweigh the negatives, but you know, like the mainstream news, you know, all you hear about are the negative things because that's what people tend to gravitate towards.
Oh, that's what the media wants to push. You know, when I was in college,
right,
it was always in journalism school. If it leads, it bleeds. If it bleeds, it leads.
Bleeds, it leads. Yeah,
so, yeah. that's how a lot of them are. Yeah, and they do stuff to get emotions stirred and get things out there like that. So, you know,
and it's unfortunate. Really,
at this point, people are moving more towards social media to get away from that, which is great.
Yeah. So too.
So back to the beer, RJ. What do you? Any tasting notes you want to add about that particular beer?
I mean, the taste. I mean, the thing that so far is I've liked from this one is actually the aroma. You get a really nice, good dose of rum that comes out of this very easily. You don't have to really sniff too hard. I mean, you kind of sit there and you're just like enjoying it. And for anybody that likes rum and likes rum type drinks, you pick it up very easily coming out of this one. As far as the taste, it's pretty much there for what you would get for like an Oktoberfest type beer. Mm-hmm. It's not very heavy on the tongue. It's got a good medium body on it. You get some of that breadiness in there. Since like most lager, it goes down pretty easily, so it's not overly bitter at all. It didn't have any listing for the IBU or anything.
Are you getting much of those rum barrel notes on the flavor? You mentioned it on the nose, but
I'm getting that in the flavor as well. It's providing like a nice syrupy type feel to it, which is nice. Doesn't really scratch the throat going down. Nice and easy on the finish. Texture syrupy, like I said, and overall it leaves a nice mouthfeel. I mean, the mouth is feeling refreshed after drinking it. I can see why this is more of an Oktoberfest type beer, because like in summer this would maybe weigh a little too heavy with the heat and everything hitting you. Mm-hmm. But for something like the fall or like right today, today we're like in the mid 50s, so it feels like fall. So it's a good beer that's really going down very easily. Like you would say,
that's about where we are too.
I say, like you would say, a Tijuana hooker, right? So
it goes down easier to Tijuana hooker, yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I'm a colorful guy.
And so I do enjoy it, and I've had a few from Goodwood, and actually, as John knows, I talked about with him, next Saturday we have our Cincinnati Beer Fest. The first time I came across Goodwood was a couple years ago when they were up here for one of our beer fests, and I did their bourbon one of their bourbon barrel beers and another one they had, and met with a couple of people there. Met the owner. I think his name was Philip from Goodwood, and talked with him for a bit and everything. But I find that they have been hit and miss. It's a matter of what you're trying out there. But there's a lot of breweries that are going to be hit and miss out there. It's hard to be like that one to really be hitting that 800, 900 level coming out of the gate with. So, but I'm always about supporting the locals.
They are. Now back me up when I say this, Todd, that they are a spinoff of the BBC here in Louisville.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, are they really?
It was my understanding. It was my understanding at first that it was just a re-branching of the name, but I come to find out that's not what it was. It's a completely different company, I think.
Yeah, but it is a spinoff.
That's how
a lot of their brewery.
John.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that was involved in the BBC, they spun off and made Goodwood. So, but you know, and like
I was telling Tom the other day on one of our hangouts that the BBC was closing their main one.
Yeah, see, they're actually closing their flagship brewery down on Shelbyville Road. So,
what do you guys think of the BBC? I want to see what you guys think of it first before I was going to say what I was going to say.
I think they're like every brewery. I think they've got hit or miss beers.
Yeah.
They're the oldest brewery in Louisville. I mean, we've all been down there a ton of times. I mean, they're all right. Is it going to be the one my go-to brewery for Louisville? Probably not, because there's so many better breweries in Louisville right now. But overall, I mean, I'm not going to turn down one of the beers if I'm somewhere and that's all they've got on draft. But it's not one that I'm going to seek out to find.
With my experience, they're pretty solid, but they're not exciting or exceptional. I mean, I never had anything terrible from them, but nothing was outstanding either.
Yeah.
I think they've diminished over the last few years for sure.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, they was the go-to brewery, but there's so many better breweries now. Against the Grain, Monic, Mile Wide, and still my old favorite Cumberland that's been around for decades. It's just I mean, but there's so many better breweries right now out there that just you got to come off with something out of the box to even survive anymore. It seems like.
Yeah, I don't find them too overwhelmingly. I mean, I almost feel like I missed more than I got a hit with those guys. Yeah. But I know they're the biggest one they're seen as the biggest one in Kentucky now. And I just think with all the other breweries we have out there, it's amazing that they're the biggest one, and it's got to be just because the way things are spread out and distribution is kind of driving that. But overall, I mean, like I said, you're going to have ones with hit and misses. I just haven't had as much success with them that I was kind of surprised when I saw they were the ones that were considered number one in Kentucky.
Yeah.
But I'll keep trying. Right. I wouldn't turn them down either, John. I drink.
That's right. They never turn down. Only an asshole turns down a free beer.
Yeah.
So, John, tell us about what you're drinking. Give us some tasting notes.
Well, I'm drinking the Moon Man No Coast Pale Ale. I'm a big Pale Ale fan, and this is one brewery, that New Glarus, that I can honestly say I've probably never had a bad beer from them. Everything they got is pretty solid. This is a pretty solid Pale Ale with the malt, the hops, and all the ingredients in this. It's well balanced. It's not overwhelmingly hoppy. Got the right amount of stuff in it that I enjoy for the Pale Ale. And I'll tell you, this is one that I could session for. If I had more than just the other one I got, I could pound these things pretty solid.
How about you, Todd? You want to talk about yours?
Yeah, like I said, this is a collaboration beer with Sun King Brewery out of Indianapolis and then Rheingeist out of Cincinnati. It's a Scottish style wee ale. Very malty, kind of sweetness. I'd say probably medium body. When I first poured it, I don't know if you can see it now. It's kind of a brownish amber colored pour. Not much of any type of and I think we looked it up as 7% ABV and only 22% IBU, which is, I guess, about typical for the style of beer. It's good, though. I like it.
I'll tell you, Todd.
Rod, have you ever had that?
Well, I'm just drinking an Irish ale. I mean, this one from Boulevard's pretty solid, but again, it's on the maltier side. It's it's one of those beers that's probably not going to knock your socks off, but it tastes good a certain time of year, and that's what a beer like this does. So. And it's obviously easy to drink because I'm almost done. Talking about Tijuana hookers again. So hey, let me talk about your guys' channels. Todd doesn't have a channel, but he does a lot of videos with me. But as far as John's channel and your channel, Roger, it's funny. What we do obviously isn't going to make everybody happy. Some people really like what we do. Some people don't. What I'm curious about is negatives. I had somebody comment a while back that that I should cut out the laughter and chit chat and stick to the beer review. So I commented and commented that I don't really do a beer review. Laughter and chit chat is sort of what I do. So how about you guys? What feedback have you guys gotten for your channels? Do you get people that I know you all get guys that really get you, but do you ever get some that just don't get it for some reason?
I haven't gotten too much, I could say, of negative. I've gotten a few things here and there, but nothing like, I mean, that to me, that's like kind of petty and catty for someone to say that. And
yeah, I thought it was kind of odd, but yeah.
It's like on Tanya, she has someone that said that too about, the ums and not edit enough. I'm like, dude, if you don't like it, go make your own videos, So
yeah.
But I've had like someone respond before, like, and actually one of the responses I got was actually a pretty good, genuine one that I hadn't thought about. It was when I had done a review on one of the adjunct loggers. And the guy wasn't really mean or anything about it. He actually still watched and he subscribes to the channel. I forgot who it was, but he had just noticed whenever I did the adjunct reviews that I was never really a big fan of them, and that kind of came through. And he was just like, why keep doing them? Because when you do the craft beer, we said, I love the craft reviews, but you can just tell, he could tell when I wasn't as into the adjunct that maybe I should consider not reviewing those or something. And I was like, that's kind of a point. I went back, I looked at it, and I stopped doing it for a while. But then I'm like, you know what? If you're going to actually look at discussing all these beers, you should try to look at each style and stuff. But I always put in there, not every beer is not going to be something I may be suited for. So it's not like I'm attacking you. If I say something like this beer isn't something for me, it's not like I'm saying it's a bad beer. It's just not something I'm going to want to probably drink again. I just got into the thing where I did the beer for breakfast upload, and I had a couple guys come back that liked that one, and a couple that came back that really didn't like it. They said they didn't like it the first time they went through and everything, and I said, well, it depends. That's your palate. You may not like it if it's your palate. I mean, everybody's got different stuff. If we all had the same palate, it'd be all boring. We wouldn't be talking about beer because everything would taste the same to everybody.
I really enjoyed that beer. That's kind of an off the wall freaking beer.
It is, and I actually grew up in New Jersey, so I what Scrapple is. So
there you go.
Yeah, so I know that taste, and and I knew the maple syrup and stuff come out, and this guy found it to be like a dull type beer that really wasn't something that he felt is involved with. And I said, that's your palate, and that could be the case as well. You're not going to like everything everybody else is going to like out there. But the one thing I did tell someone else, and it was actually on the Facebook page, I forgot who it was, who's going to actually go back and try it now. I said, with that kind of beer, I let it sit out 10 or 15 minutes because with that kind of thing, you don't want that ice cold. You let it sit out. You let it cool, get a little bit warm. Yeah. You want to drink it between 45 to 50 if you can. The flavors come out, the aroma comes out. So he's going back to try it that way because he did drink it ice cold, he said. You're not going to get the full thing. And that's one thing I wish beer companies would put on their labels more is also when Adelberg sent me the beers from Texas, one of the good things they did is they put on each bottle the recommended temperature to actually drink the beer. And I think that's so helpful for people. If you want them to drink the beer in the way you want it prepared, why not tell them where it should be at?
Yeah, you're starting to see that more and more with folks putting recommended temperatures on it.
Yeah, but I've been fortunate. I mean, I think when I started out early on, I might have had one. I remember the first time I got like a thumbs down. It's like, who the hell gave me a thumbs down on my review? It's like first time I got that. But then you kind of say, well, you're going to get it at some point. So it's
always confusing me. Sometimes you're thinking, why are you giving us a thumbs down? I've said this in 100 videos. I swear to goodness. I think the thumbs down is cowardly. If you got an issue, leave a comment. But to leave a thumbs down, it's the equivalent of running up to my door, calling me an asshole, and running away.
Right.
Thumbs down is pure chicken shit.
I think it is.
But that was me. I've got a few of those thumbs down, but I do a completely different style a lot of times. What you guys do, I'll throw in a craft every once in a while, but I can honestly say that. You're always going to get those trolls. Everybody knows that. But honestly, I mean, I've got some pretty positive feedback on a lot of my reviews. And you know, I strive. And I've always said this. I try to achieve at least 20 views or more, and I've got like 2 beers out of all the beers I've done. I've got like 18 and 19 on. I've never had those, but you know, I mean, I try to achieve at least 20 views, and I've got some pretty good positive feedback and I enjoy them. But you know, I mean, it's funny to look at your dashboard and you scroll up, look at your audience, and you see where people's watching you from. I mean, you got people watching from you know, Greece and Korea and Africa and Mexico and Canada, and you look at that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it's kind of goofy thinking, why is somebody from Greece watching me over here? I mean, you know, I mean, there's people watching you. You know, I mean, I don't have the subscriber list that you guys do. I make them up to around 110 or something like that. But I've been one of those guys that I might post them on a few groups every once in a while. But I want to try to gain my subscription list just off the basic YouTube itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to try. You know, I throw them on my beer group or other beer groups every once in a while, but not very often. But you know, I want to try to grow a subscription just off YouTube and from people talking about different things. But you know, a negativity. You know, you're always gonna get a troll or two, and most of them is malt liquor trolls. So you know, you know, it is what it is. You're gonna get a thumbs down every once in a while, but you know what it is. What it is. You got to take the good with the bad and move on. And negatives, try to make positives out of them. So
I think the last thumbs down I got was on the Hangout, so I blamed it on one of those guys.
It's probably me, Roger.
No, you weren't on that one yet. So Raiders have actually been out since you've been on. So, but like some of the other guys,
but to kind of follow up on the comment that Tom was saying that he got on his is, you know, complaining about not reviewing the beer enough. If they don't like what you're doing, don't watch your freaking channel.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, we all do something different. I mean, you know, if there are guys out there that do a straight, no nonsense beer review, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But it's not what I do. It's not what I've ever done. You know, so if you want that straight ahead, you know, monotone, no sense of humor beer review, I'm clearly not the guy you want to watch.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, if, like, you know, to John's point, like, I've got friends now that watch it, and I watch their stuff from over in, like, UK, Scotland, Sweden, all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of interesting, you know, because, again, social media has allowed that reach to happen, but it's like, I don't see a lot of the stuff that I'm doing differently than other people, but other people will say, well, I see where you do this or you do that, and it's kind of weird. So it's kind of like if someone said, you know, what makes you different? I was like, I don't know. I just talk about beer. But other people actually are the ones that are kind of seeing the different things in there. One of the good positive things I've gotten early on was like that some people had told me, and they happened a few times, they like that I'm honest on the reviews. They feel honesty when I'm talking about the beer, and I'm not trying to BS them. They talk about other reviewers that seem to like everything. And it's like, yeah, you can't like everything out there. So I try to keep it as honest as possible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you can tell by watching some reviewers that they're bought and paid for.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I mean, my first couple reviews I'd get on Rate Beer and all these other things and go, you know, and, you know, it took me about 2 or 3 reviews to realize that that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got, you know, the beers that we're drinking, most of us, the beers that are people that's not going to drink these particular type of beers. They're just going to throw up a review on them and say that they're crappy or whatever. And that's what I always try to say, you know, and a lot of people jump off there and go rate beer. But, you know, don't look at that. Don't look at that for what it is, because most even the craft beers are the people on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate stuff don't like them. You know, so I said, you can't look at that. Get on YouTube and look at them and look at 3 or 4 reviews and compare what you like. And if you want to try it. If not, you know, or get it on Untapped. I think Untapped's more fair than anything. So
yeah, I think that's a good point, because when I first started doing them, I used to look on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer as well. And at a point, it was like all the people that seem to be popping on, I don't want to say they were like a lot of them were elitist, but it's just like some of the attitudes that were taking place there. It's like,
well, I think you gotta. I've never been a fan of beer advocate or rate beer, and I've been pretty vocal about it. And I just think you have a lot of monkey see, monkey do behavior on those channels.
Yeah,
and if one person pounds the beer, everybody's going to jump on and dogpile. Somebody loves the beer, they love all the darling beers. If anything comes out from Prairie Artisan, it's going to be wonderful. If anything comes out from a brewery they may not know as well, it's going to be awful. But certain breweries they will never say a bad word about, even if the beer is horrible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like they become influenced by some of the other decision making on there. So it gets to be, I thought, a little bit sheepish, but I prefer Untapped, like John mentioned. I think Untapped has a better feel on things. I think people are more genuine on there and what they're actually looking at on their beers. And I enjoy using that one more than the other applications.
Yeah.
I don't use any of them. I'm not a fan of Untapped either, but mostly because I don't want to have to stop and check every beer in. I don't have that kind of attention.
You're not a ticker, as you would call it, right? You don't like the
I don't like when I walk into a store. I don't want to look up what anybody else thinks about a beer. I feel strong about my own beliefs. I'm going to use my own palate to decide whether it's good or not. I don't read any reviews. I don't look at anybody's videos before I try something because I don't want to be influenced at all.
Yeah.
I mostly use Untapped just because my CRS kicks in and I can't ever remember what the hell I've had in the past. So it's a good way for me to check to see what I've actually had and hadn't had.
Well, when you get up to that 2,000 number, it gets difficult to remember. Did I have this one before?
Yeah, it does get difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. But I use it because if I do want to track it, like I said, this bottle doesn't have all the information on it, I could pull it up there and just to see the information on that beer as well. Not as much as what people are thinking about it, but it just has the details on my fingertips.
I just like to look up the only thing I'll look up first is a brewer's website to get the stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, I mean, I think it's up to each individual. They should just try whatever the heck they want to try. I mean, don't push towards because somebody says this beer is the best in the country or whatever. Don't make your own assumption. Yeah. There's no way that anybody knows what the best beer in the country is. It's just what everybody wants to project to be, In the States, that there's no way to tell. I'm sure there's a brewery out there that none of us have ever had.
I mean,
beers.
We have 5,000 plus breweries now in the U.S., so no one's been to all of them.
Well, and there's another one popping up every day. I mean, it is. I mean,
like on the show, keep up. We talked about on the show, that stat I put out there is like 2.1 per day popping up now.
Yeah, I've got a new one in Springfield opening up on Tuesday. One opening up Tuesday, but I'm going to be out of town, unfortunately, so I'm hoping to try on Friday or Saturday of next week.
Yeah. And I actually think we got one pop. We got a new one coming up here in the next week or two, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we got one that just popped up about 2 months ago that probably makes as good of IPAs as I've had against anybody. And, John, you'd probably would agree with that with Mile Wide.
Mile Wide, yeah. And we've talked about that, me and Rod J and Tom. Mm-hmm. Mile Wide.
Their IPAs are phenomenal.
Any final thoughts on the beers you're drinking, guys? Any final words?
Well,
mine was tough, Tom.
Mine, I would, I can't wait to get a new shipment, new Glarus. But right now, I'm on a. I like Eric's and Lion King, so I'm on a Miller Lite.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! That good beer with a Miller Lite.
I cannot get away from that beer anywhere.
So, John, that Miller Lite's a palate cleanser, right?
It is. It really is.
Well, I would say on this Oktoberfest, this rum aged barrel is definitely one that you want to sit and take your time with and really enjoy. It's got a nice feel to it, a nice little bit of a kind of almost like a decadence to it. It's kind of like you just want to sit there and kind of hold it in your hand and be in front of the fireplace, maybe back on the Easy Boy or something. It's got a nice little feel as far as that kind of attitude with that one, but it's nice.
Yeah, I would say probably all the ones I've had, that's probably one of my more favorite ones.
Yeah. It'd be good. It'd be good with a cigar, too. It'd be a good cigar beer.
Do what, Tom?
I was telling Todd to please tell me he hadn't drifted to a Miller Lite, too.
That's now finishing off my mind, so I'm not there yet. I'm not yet there yet, Tom.
There you go. Well, hey guys, I want to thanks for joining me for this session. John from Zone 1, Rod J from RJ Beer Ventures. Sorry, Rod J.
Right.
Do you guys want to mention any other links, by the way? You guys want to drop any websites or any other links?
Well, for me, the easiest way is www.rodjbeerventures.com, and that gets everybody access to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the different sites. So wherever they're on, they can find me.
Todd, John, you want to mention your link?
I'm John Sharon at Zone 1 Beer Club. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and YouTube.
I'm just the Beer Whisperer just about everywhere. If you want my website, it's tomthebeerwhisperer.com. So thanks, guys, and we're going to end this session.